Welcome back, everybody. The 2A girls basketball tournament begins on Thursday. It is a loaded event. I think I counted you have about at least 10 potential Division I prospects playing in the tournament. It all begins at 1 o'clock. You'll see the games on WDAY Extra. The bracket looks as such. Horace is the number 1 seed out of the East. They will match up with the 4 seed out of the West in Bismarck Legacy to start things on Thursday. And our guest joins us here is Brent Hintz, the head coach of the Horace girls, who won the EDC championship, their first. They're on a 21-game win streak, and they've been playing some dynamite ball all season long, capped off what they did at the Shack this past weekend. I was joking with you off air. I think you might be trending in the right direction. Just describe those 3 games at EDC and what you saw out of your team.
Like we were talking, I felt like the month of February we were building and starting to, that goal always of playing your best basketball at tournament time. And I felt like we were there when we entered the tournament. And then I felt like we perhaps even took it to another level in those 3 days. And even each of the 3, the quarterfinal, semifinal, championship, just we kept taking another step. And it was really exciting to see. And we've had such good balance all year, but our balance over the tournament was outstanding. I think we had 4 players in double figures all 3 games, and then another player with 9 right behind it. And you get to that time of year, and sometimes you see different things from teams, and they try to throw something different at you. And we saw some of that, and our kids just were prepared. They were composed. They handled everything that was thrown at them so well, and they truly, like I said Saturday, you want to talk about a true team victory. It was unbelievable how the kids that stepped up, that were provided opportunities, and they made the most of it. And they're truly playing just to win right now, and they're playing to try to win a championship, and that's what you want to see.
Brent, this is a different vibe for you guys this year. Last year, you were first time to make it, excitement about that. This is different. You guys have been the best team all year long. You're the best team in the EDC. Now you won the championship. There are expectations. You still have a relatively young group. How do you handle that getting ready for Thursday?
Yeah, we kind of talked about that before the season a little bit, about how last year we were the young kids, the new program that everybody wondered what we could do. And it was just kind of a fun joyride last year of just knowing that, hey, we don't have anything. The only expectations on us is what we have of ourselves, and we can just go out and play and have fun and just enjoy the experience. And we're still trying to do that this year, but we're well aware that the expectations are on us a little more, and the old kind of target on your back type of thing. And we truly have, it's been so good because we talked about it, and then we've kind of seen it live out this season as we're getting everybody's best shot. Like they just our opponents seem to play with a little more energy and play a little harder. And I think that's been good for us because it's helped prepare us for it. And, the girls are enjoying it. They're embracing the responsibility that comes with it. And, I think the EDC tournament showed that it's not phasing them, that they're just going out there and they feel like they're on a mission right now, and that's their mindset. And they're just so tight knit together right now. And it was a lot of fun to watch them play in that tournament.
I got to ask, just off of last year as well, making it there and then not winning that game. I know that's a year ago, but is that in the back of the players' minds as well? Like, hey, we didn't play our best game at state, that we want to make up for that here this season?
It has. It's definitely not been something that's consumed us, but I think it's been something that's motivated us all summer, all fall, and then through the season. It's come up every once in a while, and more of a reminder of, like, we need to learn from that experience and that lesson that you need to bring it. You need to be ready. You need to have your mindset right. And also, we ran into a hot Bismarck High team that was loaded with seniors. And I know some of the kids have talked about, okay, we get what people say when you have seniors and how it's different, because and we have 3 seniors this year that have really kind of mentioned that a few times.
Mm.
Like, yeah, we get why they were playing so hard. We get why they were playing so tough because they understood that moment. And so I think we learned a
Yeah.
lot from that experience. I think we learned a lot from that game. And I think it's really helped us grow and understand what responsibilities you have this week and practicing well, preparing well, executing, being focused and engaged in everything you do, and making sure that you don't take anything for granted.
You guys got the first game out of the chute. That a thing, not a thing, kind of a thing to play at 1 o'clock on Thursday.
I always like to say that as coaches, we're kind of wired and trained to take any situation and spin it into a positive
Yeah.
and like, hey, this is the perfect scenario type thing. And, you know, sure, there's some things about a 1 p.m. game opening up the state tournament that maybe aren't conducive to schedules and of course people at school like, do you have to play at 1 o'clock? Like, yeah, like, well, we didn't pick this, but we are happy we're playing at 1 o'clock because we saw the East #1 seed plays then,
Correct.
and so that was the goal. And I do think there's some benefit to it. I think we have a group that is ready to play and they want to get out there and get started, and so why not start right away at 1 o'clock? Then you're not waiting around. You're opening things up, and you get a chance to go out there, play a game, and then spend the rest of the day kind of resting, recovering, but also preparing for Friday.
There's also the element, Brent, that the game's at the Dome. It's a little different as well. It's just not a place where anybody plays basketball, and there's no real practices or anything like that. So is that just, hey, we got to get out there and play? It doesn't matter where, or how do you adjust for that for Thursday?
Yeah, well, we get an entire 30 minutes Thursday morning to get on the court and shoot around a little bit and try to get acclimated with the surroundings. Having coached there, at least I think a couple other state tournaments that were there years ago. It definitely is different. It's bigger. Like you and I talked and made me feel even better. I've heard that they've done a really good job of trying to make it a little more intimate, and you had talked about that before we got on air.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. At the same time, honestly, we're not talking too much about it because it's kind of like both teams are playing there. This is the venue. The venue is because they're expecting huge crowds, which is a great thing. And, I think just the old Hoosiers thing, the basket's 10
Yeah.
feet high and the free throw line's 15 feet away. And it's the same as our gym back at Horace, type thing. And if we have that mindset and we don't overthink it, I think that's probably the best way to go.
I know when you and I talked earlier this year about the spotlight on this team is a little different knowing the caliber of players you have. Obviously, Jaden's going on to Gonzaga. You've got 2 others that are already got Division I offers. How have they handled that, Brent, as the season's gone along, knowing expectations are going up, that spotlight gets brighter? One's a freshman, one's a sophomore. How have they, in your minds, handled that as the year has gone along?
I think they've handled it great. I think we've had some conversations about it, but I also think it's not something that has overly consumed our thoughts. We've kind of committed to team first, and that if we focus on the team and do what's best for the team, the individual stuff has a tendency to just take care of itself, and your talent will shine through, and you will get what you're supposed to get because your talent will make sure of that. And we want them to be good. We want them to go out there and play like, hey, I have a responsibility to go out there and produce, because that's what it takes to be a really good team is you want kids to sacrifice, but at the same time, you don't want them to give up who they are, because who they are helps make their team great. So, they've handled it so well all year. We get a lot of comments and compliments about how well we share the basketball, and I share those with them because I want them to hear like, hey, people are noticing that. And at the end of the day, you look at our players' stats and they're where people expect them to be. And that just shows that, giving yourself up for the team, you get a whole lot more back.
I remember talking with you when you were coaching at Cheyenne, and Maggie Manson had committed to go play basketball at UND, how big a deal that was locally. So just anecdotally, I was counting this up last night knowing you were coming on the show. I count at least 10 players that either have Division I offers or committed already to Division I schools that are in this year's state girls basketball tournament. 3 at Horace, 2 at Legacy, 1 at Mandan, at least 2 at Shanley, 2 at Minot. What does that say to you? You've been coaching girls basketball for a long time in this state. What does that say to you about where we're at talent level-wise?
Oh, I think it's as good as it's ever been. And I know I talked earlier in the season about all the things that go into that. I think they all make each other better. I think the growth of AAU, not only nationally, but in our state, providing those kids that opportunity to get that exposure and play some high-level basketball against high-level competition in the summer. It's so different now that years ago, when you'd be prepping for a game like this, you try to get the kids to kind of know who their opponents are and get them to, see like, hey, they're just human. They're just kids like you. And now it's like, oh yeah, no, I know her. I see her all summer. Oh, I play with her. Or I play against her in the summer. Oh, I've been playing against her since I'm, was 7 years old. And so and then with social media, these kids know each other.
Yeah.
And so, but I think that all plays into the growth of talent that we've seen. And again, the growth of women's basketball nationally and how you see it on TV more. And these kids have, kind of idols or heroes, so to speak, that they can look up to and see like, hey, this is very real. This is possible. And to have that many Division I prospects at the state tournament is going to be great for people to come and watch. People need to get out there and watch it because it's going to be high level basketball. And every game is going to be just a battle. And it's going to be just a great experience to be a part of and also to watch.
There might be some college coaches in the stands at the Fargo Dome as well. It's not out of the realm of possibility over the next couple of days.
I think we might see a few sitting around and walking around. Yes, I think it would benefit them to get there too.
It's great to see you, bud. I know you're a busy man this week. Thanks so much for the time. I'll see you on Thursday. Good luck this week, okay?
Hey, thank you so much. We truly appreciate it.
Brent Hintz, head coach of the Horace girls. The Hawks open up with Jim Petrick's Legacy Sabres. That's the first game on Thursday. Again, remember, the games Thursday, the boys will play the opening round games at the Shack. The girls will play at the Fargo Dome, and then the boys move over for the semifinals on Friday, and then we finish everything out at the Dome. And we've had this discussion last year prior to the State A playing its games at the Dome. The High School Association and the Fargo Dome have been pretty much in concert over the last couple of years saying the Dome wanted to get back in the rotation. They have a brand new floor that's going in for this year's event. And if anybody was at the A last year, I think you came away with a much different opinion of the Fargo Dome as a basketball venue, than you did 5 years ago. They put the seats close. It's a really intimate environment. It makes for a dynamite atmosphere. The floor needed to be repaired, and it was. I believe they got new rims. Soblik told me when we were up there last year. I have to double check that. And new nets. They've invested in it. They want to be, and they're going to be in the rotation every year going forward. And you'll say, well, they used to do the courts with the curtain. Why can't they do that? They didn't want to do that anymore. Because I know in 2015 we were up there. For the Class A, they did that where they had the curtain up and the girls were over here and the boys were on the quote-unquote the main court. They're not doing that anymore. And, yeah, it may not be convenient for fans that need to go back and forth, but it's a much better deal than it was, whatever it was now, 10 years ago when they had State there in 2015. Looking forward to seeing it. It all begins on Thursday. We'll take our final break. We get caught up in a couple of NFL things and send you out the door. Another busy Tuesday's on tap. We'll do that when Hot Mike wraps after this.